right, here we go.
Let's rock and roll.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the Marvel Minute on the special 150th episode of Weird Science DC Comics.
Oh shit, that's right.
We're going to bring you guys Doctor Strange this week, which beat out Not Brand Etch and or Eck, whatever that is, number 14, and what was the other book? Punisher 218. I'm saying actually,
yes.
Not Brand X beat Punisher in the vote, so that was a surprise all the way around.
I was shocked.
Yeah, that was a big shout out to Reggie. Reggie's a big fan of that book, and we'll talk about that one on Marvel Madness later on. But we're here to talk Doctor Strange today, and yeah, it's change up of at least the writer of this creative team, because Hernandez, Walta, and Belair have been doing most of the issues anyway. The beginning where they weren't they?
No, it was Bocello.
Bocello. All right, yeah. It's not Bocello and Belair. Well, we got Cates. Donnie Cates is the new writer. We got art team Gabriel Hernandez, Walta, Jordi Belair on colors, Marvel Comics, and this is the first legacy issue. So number 381 of Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange has been through hell and back lately, losing most of his abilities and connection to magic, suffering in the Dark Force Dome during Secret Empire, and now possibly, apparently, no longer Sorcerer Supreme. So let's dive into Doctor Strange's first legacy issue to get the scoop on what exactly is up. So yeah, things start off here, kind of a cold opening. You see an update of what's going on with the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it is, I don't know, what would you say, floating about 15 feet off the street of its location in New York City, just off the ground.
Just about, yeah.
Currently under new management. And there's a gentleman that comes wandering up to the building, you know, usually how people come looking for help from Doctor Strange. That's what he's doing. And he runs into Zelma, which is basically former librarian turned sorcerer apprentice, kind of helper to Doctor Strange, or used to be anyway at this point. And she takes the gentleman with the problem of what we find out is multi-haunted eyeballs into the house via ladder. So she's like, you got one or two ghosts in those eyes. He's like, well, they like to argue with each other. So kind of an interesting problem, haunted eyeballs.
The funny part is that wouldn't be the weirdest thing you would see in a Doctor Strange book either.
Yeah, it only goes uphill from there. So she helps him get into the house via just a good old-fashioned ladder, where she's going to try to get him a little help. And she pulls this ladder straight out of her purse. So she's picking up a few of the tricks of the trade from Doctor Strange, or whoever our new guy is here. We'll find out shortly. Takes him up, and the guy is, at least he can see, because he does look like a blind guy with these dark glasses on. Maybe he just doesn't want to see his eyeballs floating all over the place or whatever's going on with him. But yeah, as soon as he gets inside the house, he sees a whole bunch of strange shit going on. The snakes are being nice. So they're usually kind of dickheads. Think like the aliens from Men in Black, always drinking coffee. You know, that's usually what their role was in past issues. But now they're being nice. There's like a giant Beetlejuice type snake going all throughout the house, kind of just loose. Just everything not in its usual place, per se, from the way Doctor Strange usually has things, you know. At this point, we get really a bombshell that's dropped, and he's like, where's the Sorcerer Supreme? As he's taken into the library by Zelma. He's like, where's Loki? So that's our, besides obviously the cover, you know, story-wise, our first hint that Doctor Strange is out of his position and Loki is in his position. And throughout this entire time, we've had a narration, yellow box narration going from Doctor Strange himself, also hinting at the changes and things not being the same from the way we're used to seeing them. Then we get a giant splash page here. And then this is Loki who is fighting. I got to read this because this was, I had to type this out. I wouldn't have remembered how to say this. It's a splash page of Loki who's fighting off a horde of deadly Vampiracabra warriors from Dimension Blood. So there we go. I didn't stutter over any of that. That was pretty good on my part. Pat on the back.
Dimension Blood.
Yeah, Vampiracabra. You know, that's like that made-up animal supposedly on the Texas-Mexico border.
The Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. Yeah. It's like a mutated pig-looking coyote thing. I don't know. People have said they're coyotes with radiation poisoning, all sorts of different things. But
I've seen pictures on the internet. They look like giant, like horrifying rats with no fur.
Yeah, they do. They look. Yeah, just look up Chupacabra on a Google image search. Your eyeballs will be violently assaulted with weird images. Just basically.
Don't do it over breakfast or lunch. Do yourself a favor there.
Yeah, they're strange looking beasts. And then they're usually hairless. I don't know why they're always hairless. But anyway.
Yeah, that's weird.
Loki is defending like this snake looking spider chick. She looks familiar. Does she have a name that I'm not recalling? Has she been in this book previously or no?
I feel like I saw her in the last run, but she also kind of looks like Death a little bit, like the way that she was drawn in Thanos.
Yeah,
but I think I saw her in the beginning of the last Strange run.
Yeah, so Loki is, long story short, defending, this kind of snake-looking spider chick on this hill and taking care of the vampire. There we go. I fucked it up. Vampiracabras. And yeah, this is him being good, quote unquote, at being the Sorcerer Supreme, which is, Doctor Strange's narration is hinting at, and then Loki picks up from there, kind of, boasting at his new position. And then this is kind of like a dialogue scene that goes on for a while that I normally hate in comics, but I really like this scene where he's at the bar with no doors.
I love that bar.
Yeah, and we're checking in on old Lokester here. He's sitting down and chatting with fellow magic users, again, at the bar with no doors. And they all seem rather concerned by Loki's perceived carelessness using all this magic, that quote-unquote magic he's been using. Basically, long story short, Loki confesses he wants to start going about things in a new way, that he's tired of the rules that bind magic, and seemingly going about this with the mantra of no more rules, no more price, which is setting everybody aback a little bit, because they do their sacrifices and different rituals to, pay their price for the spells and things they use. And Loki's doing none of that, and obviously you always think there's something going on in the background that Loki is obviously not telling you. You know what I'm saying? So, although he does spill the beans on some details we're going to get to here, I still think there's multi-layers to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
Especially with what we saw in Legacy. You know what I'm saying, as far as that goes?
I remember what happened to Doctor Strange when he didn't follow the rules. He ended up creating a giant monster out of the price that he was supposed to pay, keeping it locked in the basement.
Yeah, and that's not the door Loki can't get into, right? That he's going to reference here.
No, I don't think that's the door.
Okay, because he had that locked away, and then he let it out to kill, or basically take over that bad guy at the end of the first long arc.
The Empirical.
And then he kind of made friends with it. And did it just go back in its house or no? That end of that arc is a little fuzzy to me. It's been a while.
He ended up fighting it later on, I think around issue 16 or 17.
Okay. Yeah, see, I got to read. I got them all digitally, and it's been a while since I've read those. I feel like Jason Aaron's been off the book for a long time, but he hasn't really. The summer feels so long ago at this point. Yeah.
It really does.
But anyway, we get back to this conversation being had. Where was that at my notes? Loki, he basically has this offer for everybody. Loki offers all the other magic users to do what he's doing. So perform your magic duties. at no cost. Come to him, and he's going to basically, quote unquote, eat their price for them.
Because he has Guardian and he can take it.
Yeah, like he's a god, you know. So there's like a level to this. He's not just a magic user; he's also, you know, a god, a frost giant, like a little above just the normal people who use it and the mutants who use it, I guess. In turn, he wants the fellow magic users to help him learn like little tricks and things he hasn't quite figured out yet, like how to get into this door he can't figure out how to get into at Doctor Strange's house, which is hiding something, obviously. He also makes reference to this exile of Sing Soon spell, which leads to Loki being mocked. Like this is like a spell nobody has been able to find and repeat, and even if they could and did, like it's not something they're giving and handing over to Loki. And this leads to basically Loki being mocked and laughed at by an entire room of people, not just like the people he's sitting at a table with, because he's like putting on a show at this point, offering everybody this deal, not just Scarlet Witch and the people he's at the table with, you know?
It's one of those scenes where like everybody pauses and looks scared, and then all of a sudden they all just break out into laughter.
Yeah. Yeah. They're literally, it's like Joker ha-has just throughout several panels. And this point, Loki grabs really the kind of the person that he was having this main conversation with. Who's this guy's name? Do you know? Or
they said it in the beginning. I forget exactly what it is. I've seen him before, but I don't know his names. Yeah.
Yes.
I never paid attention to his name.
Takes his anger out on this one individual. It basically binds him to the wall. Everybody's, you know, arguing with Loki, like we don't fight each other in here. We don't do that. And the bar owner is just the head, right?
Yeah.
So he pulls the gun on Loki, and Loki basically as payback just vanishes the bar. Like, so there's no more bar with no doors at all. They're literally just outside hanging out.
Yeah, what a dick move.
In New York City. Yeah.
Tables, pool table everywhere. Everyone's there too. Hellstorm, Dr. Voodoo, Scarlet Witch, like every magic character you can think of.
Like a mummy back there. Yeah, so Loki starts walking away, and as he's walking away, he like immediately regrets this decision. He texts Zelma. He's like, I think I messed up. It's like, I don't know what went wrong at that bar. Things got weird, and I don't think I'm doing this right, basically. So he mentions how he's going to be late. He's not going to be right back at the Sanctum.
That's because he sees all the fog come in. That's why he did the lightning emoji, because he knows who's coming.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't pick up on that. You reminded. That's a connection you made. I didn't, because he's immediately visited as soon as he's done texting by Thor, and she confronts him and wants to know what he's up to. You know, nobody trusts he's on the up and up. Loki insists he just wants to help. Like he's stitched back together this. Doctor Strange's what do you call that? His cape. Couldn't think of the word there.
The cloak of levitation.
Yeah, he stitched that back together using care, and he wants to take over this position and do good. Thor kind of calls him out on his game at first, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't really believe you." And he teleports them to the Frost Giants planet to basically prove himself to her, revealing these guys.
They go to the Appalachian Mountains.
I didn't even see that. Midgard. Yeah, they're on Midgard already. I thought they were like teleporting to Midgard, but yeah, they're already here. They've been hiding themselves with dark magic and planning an attack on Midgard. And Loki brings Thor to this area, and she attacks them. Thanks him for, the heads up, obviously, in dealing with this. And kind of proves, at least temporarily, that he's on the up and up. But she does mention how he's going to keep an eye, or she's going to keep an eye on him. I'm mixing these two up here. Usually I can just say he for both of them.
I like that you get to see that, like, and he says, when he says bye to her, and he's like, Dr. Foster, you know, like, because he knows who she is now, because of becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, he can see everything, you know, so nobody can hide any secrets.
Yeah,
from
he
him
like
anymore.
sees through the helmet. Yeah, he kind of has this knowledge of everything. Basically, he mentions the Sorcerer Supreme sees everything, knows all the secrets, basically. So yeah, she goes off to fight the Frost Giants, keep them from their attack. Then we kind of move to our last act of the story here. And it's Scarlet Witch, you know, after fresh off her bar visit with Loki, and she confronts Doctor Strange, and he's kind of looks like initially he's just running a regular practice, a doctor's office. And she's like, you know, you need to come back. You need to take your position back. He's like, you know, basically I retired. And this isn't the first time they've had like this exact same talk. You get the hint. I've told you, yeah, I didn't really want to ever be Sorcerer Supreme. It was something I did. He's like, you know, I never really wanted to be an Avenger. It was something I did. I just really wanted to get my hands fixed so I could continue helping people. You know, this really kind of aggravates, pisses off Scarlet Witch. She feels like leaving this in Loki's hands is not the best decision. You know, I don't think too many people would argue with her there. But Doctor Strange is like, you know, I'm told he's doing a fine job. You know, the rumor about town, I guess, is he's doing just fine and maybe even better than Doctor Strange was doing at a point. And she's like, when you get tired of running your Dr. Doolittle operation, let me know. And, you know, Doctor Strange looks down at this dog. You get the hint. He's not running a actual doctor's office. He's running a veterinary clinic. And the dog, yeah, Dr. Doolittle's him. He talks.
The like, what's Dr. Doolittle?
Yeah, he doesn't know what the hell it is. He's like, oh, Doctor Strange explains it. He's like, oh, that's a pretty good joke. That's my dog voice, by the way. So yeah, bye or forget. What do you think? It's
one of those droopy dogs, so it sounds like it would
I'm trying to think of what was there a cartoon this type of dog was in, or what's this type of dog famous for?
It was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah, the dude with kind of like the scruffy red hair on top, right?
Yeah, I think so. And he's got that weird he's got that weird droopy voice.
Droopy dog? Is that just Droopy
I think that's his name. I think that might be his name, yeah.
That's the kind of dog this is. I don't, you know. But anyway, that's how this issue wraps up on an enjoyable little cliffhanger there, kind of coming full circle with who's in what position of power and where all the characters really are at this point in time. You know, it's something you've not necessarily had to read back issues for. It does a good job of catching you up and moving things forward at the same time. But I mean, it does help if you understand the concept of how there's really not much magic around and how what everyone thinks Loki is doing would be so bad and off-putting at first. Because, you know, they're really like scrounging and using the littlest bits of magic they could find and even paying the price for that right now because of the events that have went down. So yeah, it does a good job of tying everything together and moving things forward in an interesting direction with Loki. You know, I'm interested to see how that all goes. And Doctor Strange is a veterinarian with just a full like professional-esque beard, you know, not his corny goatee, you know what I'm saying?
He's all clean cut.
I'm trying to think of who he reminds me, who he looks like right now, and there's nothing jogging in my head immediately, but he looks like somebody that I can't put my finger on right now. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, the art was good. It stays kind of in a similar style that we've been getting from Doctor Strange while being different. I really think it resembles a lot of what the first arc looked like while being different people. I'm not the best at remembering art teams on books. Trevor's a little better at that than I am. So it's like stayed in a consistent style though, you know? So this is a good collection to have like a trade collection of, and there's no jarring really changes. It's kind of like a good long story that's started from the beginning of All New, All Different, and I've really enjoyed, and this continues to be a buy for me. And one of the better legacy issues so far that I've read. So I'm excited to read some more Donny Coates on Doctor Strange and other books moving forward from Marvel. So that hopefully gives Rosenberg and Brisson a break, because those two feel like they're writing every other book besides this one right now. So
they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like every new book that comes out, it's either Rosenberg or Brisson. Rosenberg or Brisson.
And I know, it's true. It's so true. And Cates he's writing a ton of books right now too. He's got like a book at Boom, a book at Image. Like he's got like 3 or 4 indie books going right now on top of this, and he's going to be doing Thanos. So he's going to be doing Thanos with the artist that he did God Country with. So they got a full-on Image creative team on Thanos. So I can't wait to see how that comes out. They seem to just be picking up all the indie artists and letting them do whatever they want on these books. So I mean, that's pretty good. I really loved this book. I found out in the earlier runs that Magic's coming. It'll come back, and it's coming back, and it'll come back stronger than it was before, but it's just taking a little time,
Yeah, it's got to like find new objects, because the villain from the first arc, his name is escaping me. I can't remember any names today. My brain is like just a noodle. But
I know what they're called. I just don't know what the main villain's name was.
Yeah, he was like destroying any object that had ties to magic. So yeah, I imagine the magic will come back. It just has to find new things to possess.
And they have to create new spells. Like that was the biggest problem for Doctor Strange, is that they have to. He knows all the old spells, and he has to create all new spells for everything. So that's why it takes so much time to start from fucking scratch after literally thousands of years of magic. And I agree with you on the art. I really like, from Chris Bachalo to Kevin Nolan to Nico Henrican to Gabriel Hernandez Walther. Those are like all the artists that worked on Doctor Strange from Jason Aaron to now, and all the art styles kind of they fit each other, and they fit the tone and style of the book really, really well. So
yeah. It's not like the Marvel house style, but it's like a book style almost. Here, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely the book style, and for the world that he lives in, with like all the crazy like mushroom acid trip shit that goes on in this book, like they picked the right artists like for that. I loved this. I loved every moment of it. I like the previous Doctor Strange run. You don't really feel like it skips a beat, like, you know what I mean? From Jason Aaron to now, it feels like it's just continuing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I liked certain things, like when they talk about how now there's regular food in the fridge instead of like all that shit that Doctor Strange usually eats, like rats and eyeballs and interdimensional animals and insects, like all that.
I remember the one point he was eating like I don't know, space octopus or something. I don't know, something weird.
Such disgusting shit. And I remember there was an issue where he got stuck in a nightmare world, and his nightmare was like him living in a mansion with all these hot women around, and he opens the fridge and it's like all this regular food, and he looks at it and he can't even get hungry, and then he sees all this disgusting shit, and he's like all this stuff looks really, really gross, but for some reason my stomach's growling like I want to eat it. It's just so fucking weird.
Yeah.
There was something else Loki mentioned that I'm just drawing a blank on right now that was kind of cool. But
there was a lot of talking in this book, but it was all it wasn't like not even necessarily bad. I'm not even talking like dialogue wise, but it was like informative and not boring. You know what I'm saying? Like it came across as interesting. So
like it was everything was like the rules. Yeah, everything in conversation was rules you needed to know. Catching you up on stuff that you might not have known that happened in the previous run. Like everything was it was like near perfect. I loved it. It was definitely it was a really good issue. I really enjoyed reading it. I read it between 3 o'clock this morning because I was holding off because I wanted to I was a little behind on the past run, so I wanted to catch up, so I got caught up just in case they referenced anything from Jason Aaron's run. And between 3 o'clock in the morning and now, I probably read it like 3 times. I really, really enjoyed it. So definitely a buy for me too.
Yeah. So check out Doctor Strange.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say. Sorry, one thing I wanted to say is that, in not just Guardians of the Galaxy, but other books, Loki has been out there looking for the Infinity Stones. So yeah. I get a feeling, because it's going to be all encompassing, that he got this position and he's using this position to somehow like help him find the stones, so we'll see about that, but it just sounds like it would happen, like that's something he would do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what, from seeing what he was up to in the Legacy one shot to what the bigger overall picture for the Marvel Universe going on right now with the stones is. I think he's up to something with that, and he bet you he knows where they all are, since he even hinted at he knows almost everything. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see where all that leads. And yeah, that kind of more stone-ish type story comes out in February. I guess they released a teaser this week, so we'll get into that on three more books in Marvel Madness. So check that out later on if you want to hear some more Marvel talk. But yeah, if you guys are looking for us throughout the week, you can find me on Twitter at bmur3660. Trevor, where can they find you, man?
You can find me at Afronaddict.
All right, and we will talk to you guys next week. Poll will be up on Monday. I literally like blanked on it this week. So it went up late, like Wednesday. So yeah, look for it on its usual day, Monday this week. I'll remember that. I'm off tomorrow. And yeah, we'll talk next week, guys. Peace out.
Peace.